in NICs will cost more to social care providers than the money that the government has announced for that sector in the budget, meaning that that measure alone could...
No, that's not a judge. That's Britain's Deputy Prime Minister, going full scorched earth during PMQs as the Conservative front bench gets absolutely dismantled. Farmers betrayed, inflation exposed, Tory hypocrisy obliterated. You've seen angry exchanges at the dispatch box, but nothing like this. The Labour government is swinging hard, and the Tory opposition walked straight into a buzzsaw. This is the breakdown they don't want you to see. Hit subscribe for weekly breakdowns of political chaos, PMQs, beatdowns, and viral parliamentary moments. The moment it began, a deceptively calm question from Alex Burghardt, Shadow Chancellor of the Duchy of Lancaster. He asked plainly,
"Democracies must stand together.
Yeah.
What is the government doing to bring down inflation?"
But the Deputy Prime Minister didn't flinch. She fired back immediately, with receipts
to his place. And many people might not know, Mr. Speaker, but the Honourable Member was the Minister for Growth when, under Liz Truss, inflation was 11.1% and growth flatlines, so we're doing more.
Boom. Right out the gate, a direct blow tying Tory chaos to economic collapse. Then came the counter-accusation. The Tories claimed Labour was stoking inflation. Burghardt ranted about public sector pay rises, budget decisions, and real economists predicting 3% inflation, trying to imply Labour is setting Britain up for economic failure. But it was all spin, because what came next shut the whole narrative down. Burghardt's weak attempt to deflect didn't stop with inflation. He tried to play hero to Britain's farmers, reading emotional letters and highlighting elderly men in tears, children worried about their parents. He demanded,
"If the government isn't going to reverse this terrible policy, will the Right Honourable Lady at least commit that there will be no further increases to inheritance tax and no further reductions to agricultural property relief or business property relief in this Parliament?"
Sounds powerful, but here's the catch. The Deputy Prime Minister already had the facts locked and loaded.
Wants to talk about the figures, Mr. Speaker. I will be crystal clear. The vast majority of estate owners will see no change and pay no tax on land passed on valued at £1 million. Couples can pass on £3 million, Mr. Speaker, tax-free, and those above the thresholds will pay only half the normal rate and can pay over 10 years interest-free.
The Tory spin fell apart on live TV. And then she exposed who really betrayed farmers.
Get the money out the door for farmers, failing to spend over £300 million on farming budgets. The farmers know they ruined it for them, and that's why.
It wasn't Labour that let farmers down, it was them. The Tories weren't ready for what came next. Burghardt tried to accuse Labour of punishing people who don't vote for them, saying inheritance tax, school fees, small business levies, and pension costs were politically motivated attacks. But the Deputy Prime Minister stood tall.
The Honourable Gentleman, it was his government that raised taxes to the highest level for a generation. It was his government.
Sorry? Well, I've less as well, unless you want to go and have a cup of tea. Have we heard any more? Is that it now? Yes or no? Absolutely, you're the one that was moaning.
My mouth.
Well, I'm sorry, you must be able to do it like a ventriloquist dummy! Prime Minister.
It was his government that crashed the economy, that saw inflation rise to 1.1% and growth flatline. It was his government that spent the reserves 3 times over.
And then she turned the tables completely.
The Conservatives have been desperately trying to rewrite history. They come here every week jumping on a new bandwagon, taking a new pot shot, but absolutely no.
The Tory benches were stunned. No vision, no plan, just weak attacks, and they all fell flat. Farmers, Labour just gave them a record £5 billion over 2 years. The NHS, Labour just injected £25 billion, the largest health investment in over a decade. Public services, Labour is rebuilding what the Conservatives left on their knees. And still, the opposition couldn't stop themselves from interrupting, shouting, spinning, so she hit them again.
The faces may change, but it's the same old Tory party. Straight back to putting everything on the credit card.
And it landed hard. Just when the opposition thought they had a grip, came Gaza. Andy McDonald didn't pull punches.
The government acknowledge
that Israel has carried out mass forced displacement in Gaza, and will it take concrete measures on arms trade and Israeli officials in order to comply with its duty to prevent genocide?
The chamber froze, and the response? The Deputy Prime Minister walked the tightrope, but revealed serious fractures.
Secretaries discussed directly with the Israeli Foreign Minister, and we've imposed sanctions in response to appalling incidents of settler violence and suspended export licences for arms following a review that found a clear risk that they may be used to commit or facilitate violations of international.
This wasn't the rubber stamp pro-Israel stance we've seen before. Labour is now clearly distancing itself, and it sent shockwaves through the House. But the heat didn't stop there. Cue the Liberal Democrats. Daisy Cooper stepped up, blasting Labour's budget.
Insurance contributions on social care providers would make the crisis in social care worse. Now, OBR figures suggest that the increase in NICs will cost more to social care providers than the money that the government has announced for that sector in the budget, meaning that that measure alone could withdraw £200 million out of...
Her follow-up was even more damning.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Farmers told me yesterday that they feel as though they have been betrayed by the Conservatives, but they now feel like they have...
Oof, a direct accusation of double betrayal. So how did Labour respond? The Deputy PM called it scaremongering, insisting...
What I would say is scaremongering around what the Labour Party is doing. The budget delivered £5 billion for farming over the next 2 years, a record amount. The last government failed to spend £300 million on farmers, and our plan is sensible, fair and proportionate, and protects the smaller estates while fixing public services.
And then came the moment that summed up the entire session. Lee Anderson, ex-Labour, now Reform UK, and clearly fed up and exploded.
On Whitehall, protesting against this madcap decision. So does the Deputy Prime Minister agree with me that this decision should be thrown in the trash can?
The Tory benches roared. Her response? Savage, surgical, spectacular.
Well, Mr. Speaker, he talks about CVs. It's good to see the honourable member doing well on his bench. Once a Labour councillor, then a Tory MP, and now a Reform Chief Whip. Every time he switches party, he gets a promotion. Mr. Speaker, I've already outlined what we...
Boom! Meanwhile, the Tory benches stayed mostly silent. No fight left, no comeback. Labour was in full control, and the message was clear. This isn't just a new government, it's a reckoning. And if this is how they handle their critics in week 1 of Parliament, just imagine what's next. So here's the question. Are the Conservatives already out of ammo? Or is Labour getting too comfortable? Too fast? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to hit subscribe for raw political showdowns, unfiltered truth, and every viral PMQs moment.